the Division II National Championship game. And we are all kinds of excited. If you're looking for offense, folks, you have come to the exact right spot. Alongside Andre Ware, a man who knows a little bit about offense, I'm Eric Collins. And folks, Pittsburg State has been setting records all season long offensively. They're absolutely sensational.
Well, when you talk about it, when you talk about success on the offensive side of the football, I think you got to start with their quarterback, Neil Philpott. 38-7 as a starter. He's had a lot of success in this offense as a starter. He'll know when to run the football, where to throw it, and how to make it work. He's magical in Pittsburg State's in their offense.
Well, for Pittsburg State, they're looking for their second national championship. Looking for their very first national championship is Valdosta State. The Blazers are led by a transfer, Fabian Walker.
Yeah, he's got big game experience. Started a couple of years ago in the Sugar Bowl for Florida State. He's their leader after just 15 days of spring practice. He was elected team captain. He's been fabulous in their offense, Eric. He's going to have to be that way today.
So, folks, playing for the Division II National Championship, it is Valdosta State taking on Chuck Broyles and his Pittsburg State offense, and those numbers are staggering. They have scored more points and totaled more yards than any school in the history of college football.
And you just look at all that success, all those yards just rolled up, breaking the record last year by Texas Tech. And he's tasted a lot of success. You see that 154 wins, just 29 losses. Chris Hatcher on the other side. He's done a fabulous job in such a short period of time as well. Only 7 losses, 89% win percentage for Chris Hatcher. He's been fabulous for Valdosta State.
And folks, we are ready for football. The kickoff, it's a low liner, fielded at the goal line. That's Vincent Brown for Valdosta State. Breaks the tackle, gets out to the 25-yard line, and that is where the Blazers will start their first offensive possession. Fabian Walker, a big fella, 6'2", 219 pounds. He will get the starting nod. He is the man that used to play for Bobby Bowden's Florida State Seminoles.
Well, an athletic quarterback as well. I mean, he'll move around, make some plays. He's got 348 rushing yards to go along with a lot, 2,800 passing yards. So he'll move around. They'll spread you out, no huddle at the line of scrimmage, but they won't be in any hurry.
Valdosta State, 12-1 on the year, a perfect 9-0 in the Gulf South Conference. Walker wants to throw on first down. Flips it out, has a man. That's Rod Dalton. Gain of just a couple. And it'll bring up a 2nd down and 7. Offensively, this is how the Blazers line up. Expect to see a lot of Tyran Robinson. He's their leading rusher and their top receiver. The big boys up front for the Blazers, probably their best is Torrey Howard. He is a 3-time first-team all-conference player. He is one of the captains of the offense. Good crowd here in Florence, Alabama. We're at Brawley Stadium. For the 19th consecutive year, Florence, Alabama hosting the Division II National Championship. Walker tries to hit his man, tip ball, intercepted. Jimmy Taylor heading to the house, touchdown. Pittsburg State has the best offense in the history of the game, and now they're getting defensive touchdowns.
Well, when you talk to the coaching staff of Pittsburg State, they talk about Jimmy Taylor having good instincts right here on the inside, just taking a nice zone drop. And he's going to be the benefactor of a tipped football right there. That's his 4th interception on the season, playing middle linebacker. Once you get it, nothing in front of it.
Fabian Walker maybe failed by his running backs. Tried to get to Tyran Robinson, who had to deflect off his hands. Nathan Alleman comes on, kicked the extra point. No problem for him. So, 56 seconds into this one. Pittsburg State already with 7 points.
You start to see why they average 57 points a game, especially if they're getting a lot of help from the defense. The defense only gives up 17 points a game for Pittsburg State. So you do the math on that one. It's 57 they average, 17 they're giving up on defense.
Let's take a look at how Pittsburg State got here. The Gorillas a perfect 14-0. They began the season with their hair on fire. Look at these numbers, folks. 10 times this year, they have scored over 50 points.
Yeah, 5 times they've scored over 70 points. I mean, it's just been unbelievable. Look at this one right in here, though. Where they beat somebody 90 by 91-20.
Missouri Rolla, they defeated 91 points they put on the board. That was on the first page back in the first part of their season. 91 points, and folks, they didn't even attempt a field goal. They kicked 13 extra points at the end of 13 touchdowns.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. A lot of offense, but their defense is pretty good too. Fabian Walker, after a situation like that as a quarterback, you just kind of got to tell yourself, we got a lot of time left, a lot of time in this football game. Settle yourself down and play within the structure of what you want to do offensively.
So the Gorillas kick off for the second time in less than a minute. On the return, Vincent Brown tries again, and this time he gets across the 30-yard line. Let's go down to our third member of our crew, Jimmy Dykes. Jimmy.
Hey guys, a big part of this football game today for Valdosta State is their ability to keep that high-powered Pittsburg State offense off the field. They're going to use their defense and their offense to try to control the tempo of this football game. Keep an eye on the 25-second play clock today when Valdosta State has the football. Here's what they want to do. Yes, they're a spread offense. Yes, they're a no-huddle offense. And yes, they're already behind 7-0. Ideally, they want to snap that football with 5 seconds or less on the play clock, trying to shorten the length of the game, keep their defense rested, and try to contain Pittsburg State. The play clock today, how will they manage it? Big part of this football game, guys.
Thank you, Jimmy. And on that play, they snapped it with 5 seconds remaining on the play clock.
Yeah, when I talked to Chris Hatcher, their head coach, I said, I've never heard of doing that, but it makes sense. You give your defense a chance to rest, you keep the other teams or the opposing offense off the football field, and you control the tempo of the football game. And he talked a lot about holding tempo and setting the pace at which they want to play football.
Chris Hatcher did not want to be down 7-0 this early in the game. Second down and 6. Once again, Walker taking his time. Hand off, Vincent Brown with the carry, and not much doing on the right side.
I'll tell you what, Eric.
Let's take a look at that Pittsburg State Gorilla defense. Up front, Ryan Meredith, he's their difference maker. 12 sacks on the year and 22 tackles for losses. Both those lead the team. Linebacking core, we already talked about Jimmy Taylor. Their two defensive captains, Josh Latimer and Chad Miller. And in the defensive backfield, Jeremy Neville, he'll be tested. He is starting for just the second time this year at the free safety spot. Play clock down 9. Fabian Walker with 4 receivers at his disposal. Receives the ball with 4 seconds remaining on the play clock. Wide open. Bama Adams has the football and loses it. Incomplete. He was open, but he dropped the football.
Yeah, it's the guy that you just talked about, Jeremy Neville, having to have a big football game. Bama Adams converts his route. He's on a crossing route going across the football field and turns it up. You'll see him right there. He turns it up into an area, and then there's Jeremy Neville coming in, stripping the football first, but securing the tackle, and the ball's out and on the ground for an incompletion.
Jeremy Neville, a big play to force a punt for Valdosta State and Fabian Walker, and that good offense has to go to the sideline and watch the Gorillas operate.
You hear so much about Pittsburg State's offense, I'm kind of antsy to see them take the field myself.
Punt sails out of bounds. They don't give Joe Taylor an opportunity to return it. So here come those vaunted Gorillas of Pittsburg State. The numbers, absolutely mind-blowing. They average 57 points. They've scored over 800 points in their first 14 games.
Yeah, 806 to be exact, and that's doing it. I mean, 614 yards a game. That's doing it right there. I mean, you got to have a lot of things, a lot of components working together. The offensive line in sync with one another, the quarterback and the pitch man, the fullback, everybody on the same page to have that kind of success.
Neil Philpott, senior from Norton, Kansas, under center. He is a dual threat. He can throw it, and he's a very strong runner. Handoff goes to Jermaine Race. He's a 2,000-yard rusher. He picks up 4 before he's knocked down by the Black Swarm defense of Valdosta State. Here are the backs and receivers for Pittsburg State. Jermaine Race, only the second Gorilla to ever rush for 2,000 yards. The other guy, Ronald Moore, who won the Harlan Hill Award as the best Division II player back in 1991. Up front, Nathan Baker. He's their best. He is an All-American and one of the 8 finalists for the Gene Upshaw Award given to the best lineman, offensive or defense, in Division II. Philpott wants to try a little option, has room along the edge. Big fella, hard to bring down. He finally is. Scott Foss pushes him out of bounds, but not before a gain of 12. Valdosta State defensively, this is how they line up. Tim Thompson, he is a special player on the edge. He has got 15.5 tackles for losses. He's their best energy guy. Linebackers, Donnie Daniels, Cody Thomas, and Gio Blaylock. All steady, none spectacular. And in the defensive backfield, both of their corners are former Division I players. Sam Reynolds, a transfer from Western Michigan. Terrence Bell came from Central Florida. Fresh set of downs for the Gorillas. Philpott calls his own number and has huge yards once again. Gets down to the 30-yard line, another big gainer for the QB.
Yeah, they run the option the play before, and this is just a lead for the quarterback, a designed play for the quarterback to run the football. And he's going to be led through the hole by Jermaine Race, the halfback, just going to lead his quarterback through the hole, and all of a sudden Neil Philpott is off and running. I mean, he's rushed for over 1,200 yards, thrown for, you see it there, 1,700 yards. A lot of success, and it all starts with the big fella behind the center.
Philpott, the quarterback, averages over 7 yards per carry. Philpott again gets well over his average. The big fella inside the 15. That's 3 consecutive carries of 10 yards or more.
Well, when you talk about running the option the way they do at Pittsburg State, there you want to get the fullback involved. That's the key to most option attacks. But you'll see it here. There's a hat inside, so he's going to show the football inside to the fullback and then pull it out. Nobody out there. They take the pitch man. Then all of a sudden they leave it for Neil Philpott to turn the football up the field. He is magical in the option. Not a, fleet of foot, but he runs with a lot of power.
How rare to have a quarterback who checks in over 250 pounds. Jermaine Race, his second carry, and he is brought down after a short gainer.
Yeah, he was a 60-foot shot putter in high school, Neil Philpott. He came to Pittsburg State because he just wanted a chance to play quarterback. Everybody else that was recruiting him wanted to move him to defensive end and tight end and a bunch of other positions. He said, I just wanted a chance to prove that I could either do it or not do it. I think he's done it pretty good for 4 years here at Pittsburg State.
And his head coach, Chuck Broyles, would agree. 3 consecutive seasons of 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards passing. That's never been done. Second down. This time the right side is tried. Philpott gets to the 5-yard line. It'll be close to a first down.
Well, you see Jermaine Race at the end of that play take a huge shot. Philpott get on the option, and he keeps showing. Right there, you can't stand around if you're the pitchman. you got to run for cover and get yourself out of bounds. But you mentioned it, 3 consecutive seasons with 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards passing. That's a lot of success on offense. And I think if you're Valdosta State, you got to get a handle on that guy right there, first and foremost. Forget about the fullback, occupy one guy, put 2 guys on Philpott.
The give to the fullback, Joe Taylor, picks up the first down. They needed a half yard, and they got 2.
Well, just as I say, put one guy on the fullback, they run him right up the middle. He comes in, averaging 6.4 yards a carry. I mean, it's an offense for everybody. Everybody has fun. They got a little guy on the outside. He'll get involved. Jermaine Carpenter, 45 receptions, over 1,000 yards on just 45 catches. It's an amazing deal to watch and see Pittsburg State on offense.
The Gorillas already with a defensive touchdown, looking for an offensive touchdown. Jermaine Race goes backwards. A whole host of Blazer defenders bring him down for a loss of a couple. Sam Reynolds, the first man to get there.
Well, you hear me talk a lot about small wins during a football game in certain situations. And for Valdosta State coming out, throwing an interception for a touchdown, and then here, being able to stop Pittsburg State after they've just taken it and marched it down, trying to hold them to a field goal attempt.
Philpott looking over to the sidelines. Want to make sure that everyone's on the same page. On the end of the line, it jumped. Brandon Twido got a little bit antsy, and that's going to send the offense back 5 yards.
Yeah, Brandon Twido, he came to Pittsburg State on a basketball scholarship. It's his first year.
Full start. Number 82 on the offense. Second down.
It's his first year playing football since high school. So he moved right in and has settled in pretty good. He's a junior. He'll have another year, 420 pounds on the bench press. Big old strong guy on the end of the line.
Tried to quick jump the jump ball, middle of the court.
That's right.
Doesn't work in football. So, second and goal now. Ball placed on the 10-yard line. 3 receivers out to the left for Philpott. Empty backfield as Taylor goes in motion. Philpott, wide open man. Jermaine Carpenter, touchdown. Flat out too easy.
Yeah, they just short roll Philpott. And he's got a blocker out in front of him, Jermaine Race, his running back, that just gives him just enough time to find Jermaine Carpenter, who sits down in the zone along the sideline. They drop too deep into the end zone, giving a little bit too much space on the outside. Jermaine Carpenter, all you got to do is catch it and fall in the end zone.
So the Gorillas, now with 14 points, we haven't played 8 minutes yet. The highest scoring team in the history of college football is showing us exactly why. 2 touchdowns halfway through the first quarter.
Today's NCAA Division II Football Championship game is brought to you by the new T-Mobile Sidekick 2 with IM, email, web browsing, and more. Everybody needs a sidekick. T-Mobile.
Welcome back to Florence, Alabama. And folks, if you're just joining us, that score is not a misprint. Pittsburg State, they score early and they score often. That's what we were told, and that's what we've seen. 2 touchdowns already, 1 defensively, 1 offensively. The man waving his arms, Jermaine Carpenter, scored the most recent one on a 10-yard scoring toss, Philpott to Carpenter.
Yeah, if you're Valdosta State, I mean, you have to take the approach of just putting together some positive drives, some positive plays at this point in the ball game. You've had a couple of bad things happen to you. Just move the chains.
Nathan Alleman, their kicker, maybe a little bit leg weird. This is already his 3rd kick. We're about 8 minutes into the game. Vincent Brown, his 3rd kickoff return, this time brings it out to the 24-yard line.
Boy, Vincent Brown, he's been big for their return game in terms of providing field position. Averages 22 yards a kickoff return. Has returned 1 for a touchdown. He's getting an early workout on kickoff returns for Valdosta State.
Running some gassers. This is the Division II National Championship game. Valdosta State playing in the National Championship game for the 2nd time in their school's history. Pittsburg State making their 4th appearance. They've won 1. Ball is fumbled. Fabian Walker trying a little inside handoff, maybe try to pull it back out, and the ball drips to the ground, but Walker able to jump on it. Fabian Walker, maybe a little bit too quick here.
Well, you look at it right here, he's got a guy uncovered, and there's about 5 to 7 yards of space in between that. We used to call it an on-air shot. He's going to have an opportunity to just take gimmies when they want to keep the linebackers inside. That's a gimme throw for him. It's an easy 5 to 7 yard gain. Got to take advantage of those if you're Fabian Walker.
Valdosta State, they've yet to get a first down. 2nd down and 12, Tyran Robinson, not much doing.
Yeah, they're just, right now, they're just kind of making it difficult on themselves. You got to, when you go to three and four wide sets and they want to keep linebackers inside and go cover 2 on the top of it, then somebody is left uncovered. And we used to wear it out, just throw and raise up, give it to the slot, let him run. Then you got to remove someone, and that's when you can run the football like Valdosta State's trying to do.
3rd down and 9. early in this game, but already a big play. Blazers need to keep this drive alive. Walker with time has a man, and it goes through the fingertips of Clay Calloway, freshman from Watkinsville, Georgia.
And then you got to have your receivers make plays on 3rd down and 9 sometimes as well. You got to come up and make plays for your football team there. Clay Calloway should have caught that football. It was a little high maybe, but you get your hands on it and you got to come away with a reception so you can move the chains.
Travis Tidwell comes on to punt the football away. Back at single safety, Joe Taylor. Tidwell angles towards the sideline, and Taylor stays away from the football. It's down to the 39-yard line. Punt of 36 yards. When we come back, that vaunted Pittsburg State offense back on the field.
Is NCAA Division II Football Championship Game is brought to you by eLoan. For mortgage, home equity, and auto loans, visit eLoan.com. A better way to get a loan. And Zales, the diamond store.
It is a cold day here in Florence, Alabama, and northern Alabama, 44 degrees at kickoff. But don't tell the good folks from Pittsburg State that it's cold. They are red hot. The Gorillas already with 14 points. And now they have the ball once again. They'll start at the 39-yard line. Philpott tries the left side. And Philpott continues to get huge chunks of yards. Gain of 11. Let's go down to Jimmy Dykes. Jimmy.
Hey guys, Valdosta was pretty open about the fact they felt like they were at a disadvantage this week in preparation for this football game. The reason why, according to NCAA Division II rules, if your campus is less than 500 miles away from the championship site, you have to bus to the game. Valdosta had to take a 9-hour bus ride to get here. On the flip side, Pittsburg State, their campus is just over 500 miles, so they got to fly to the game on Thursday. That long bus ride on Wednesday cost Valdosta State 1 day of practice. And how about this? They missed the cutoff of 500 miles by 7 miles. 493 miles it is from this championship site to Valdosta. And I'm not sure right now, is it the bus ride that's bothering them or the guys in the yellow and white?
I think it's the guys in the yellow and white right now, but how about having them pick you up on the other side of campus? You got to stretch out and change that pickup point. Get on the all the way in the backside of campus, and I bet you can get, squeak 7 miles out of that.
Start the trip at some ancillary campus.
That's right.
Further away from town.
Some annex building or something.
Well, the chains are tangled on the side of the field, and so we're making sure that that's all square before we give the ball back to the Gorillas. And Neil Philpott. Doesn't happen very often, Andre. And you think that in this day and age of modern gadgets and gizmos, that the old chain link would go by the wayside, but it's still a staple here in 2004.
It's still there. Big Nathan Baker, their right tackle. You talked a lot about him, and he's the guy that went rolling over there trying to throw a block for his quarterback there, Neil Philpott. Philpott is just unbelievable. He did all that. Rushed for 1,200 yards, thrown for 1,700, and missed 2 games with turf toe. Andy Majors had to step in for him.
We are here for the Division II National Championship game. It's Pittsburg State, perfect 14-0, the top-ranked team in Division II, taking on Valdosta State here at Brawley Stadium in Florence, Alabama, alongside Andre Ware, Amara Collins. And those numbers at the bottom of the screen, when you saw Pittsburg State, they are correct. They have scored 806 points for that man, Chuck Broyles, so far this season. Those 806 points, the highest total ever in any division of college football.
Well, when you look at it, you think, well, they dominated in time of possession. No, just average 30 minutes, 21 seconds. That's just, normal football games. Splitting it down the middle pretty much.
They score quick. We've seen them. They already have a defensive touchdown today, and they have an extended drive for a touchdown offensively. Philpott, again, just sensational with the football.
When you talk about Neil Philpott, a guy 6'4", 254 pounds, but he runs the 40 in about 4.6. Good quickness in terms of his feet and the way he can move with the football. He's not going to shake you when he gets there. He will try linebackers and defensive backs because he's pretty much a guard or so when he's got the football. Guard running with the football.
69 yards already on the ground for the signal caller for Pitt State. One receiver in the game for the Gorillas. And Philpott looking for him. That's Carpenter behind the defense, incomplete. He is Quicksilver, but not quite quick enough to catch up to that pass. Well, tonight join ESPN for a night of America's greatest at 8 Eastern. It's down to 5 as Matt Leinart, Adrian Peterson, Jason White, Reggie Bush, and Alex Smith are the finalists for the Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Suzuki. Then at 9 Eastern, it's the ESPN Original Entertainment movie 3, starring Barry Pepper as Dale Earnhardt, presented by Kay Jewelers. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Matt Leinart, close to 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns. Jason White had a big day. And stick around, folks. A little bit later on, a man who has a Heisman and a Heisman vote will unveil who he voted for. We're talking Andre Witt.
Trying to put me on the spot for a few weeks in a row now.
Pitch out. Jermaine Race loses the race. Feet come out from underneath him, and he falls for a loss of a couple.
Yeah, Jermaine Race, when he was being recruited, Tim Beck and that offensive staff has said his mother did the recruiting. I mean, stepped in and she started interviewing the coaching staff and everybody who came in the house, as opposed to them interviewing him and telling him all about Pittsburg State. She was the one asking the questions, a third-grade teacher down there in Warrensburg, Missouri.
What's this? The punt team is coming on for Chuck Broyles' club. Andy Majors, the backup quarterback, who we'll see, comes on, and it looks like he's going to quick kick it. A run out and a kick at the same time. Bama Adams on the return, and Adams, a solid run. Small fella, runs pretty hard. So Valdosta State will take over. Ball to 31. They trail 14-zip. Walker leads his Valdosta State Blazers back out offensively. They'll take over on the 30-yard line, trailing 14-0. 3:49 remaining here in the first quarter. And Fabian Walker, he's a wonderful story. Kid from Americus, Georgia, started his college career at Florida State.
Yeah, transferred in here in the spring, started that Sugar Bowl a couple of years ago against Georgia.
They'll need to get something going on this set of downs. Walker pitches out. Robinson with the carry. Gain of 5, maybe 6. This was the scene a couple of years ago in New Orleans as Fabian Walker got the surprise start taking on the Georgia Bulldogs. Numbers weren't great, but the experience was one he will never forget, starting the Sugar Bowl in 2003. He actually was able to start that game because Chris Ricks, who was the starting quarterback, overslept for an exam a couple of weeks prior. And Bobby Bowden said, "You're not going to start our bowl game." And so Fabian Walker all of a sudden was elevated to the first team. And a very strange day for him because he grew up in Georgia, idolizing two teams, the Georgia Bulldogs and the Florida State Seminoles. And he played for the Seminoles against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and I asked him yesterday if it was a surprise to him. He said, yeah, it was kind of because, you know, I'm running second team, and then all of a sudden it's like, get in there, Fabian, you're running with the ones today. And he said he was totally surprised, and he figured out why or what had happened with Chris Ricks as to how he became the starter in the game, embraced it, and went out and gave his best effort.
Fabian Walker now on 3rd and 1, faced with a big opportunity to make something happen and kind of give the momentum back to the Blazers. So far, it's been all Gorillas. Makes a handoff, and Walker calls his own number and gets the first down. Fabian Walker talks now about his memories of the Sugar Bowl.
I took a lot from that game. Just being around the atmosphere, the crowd, playing in front of thousands of people. Whenever I get a chance, I talk to some other teammates, some freshmen or whatever, they can get the opportunity to play, just try not to play into the hype. Just go out there, just don't forget what got you at this point. Just go out there and, do what you've been doing all season.
It's good advice.
It really is, and I asked him, and he said a lot of guys still ask him about that experience of playing in the Sugar Bowl. And he talked about it. Don't get too high on it. Just go out and do what needs to be done.
Walker has time, and he throws short, intended for Zach Parker.
Yeah, he seems just a little bit nervous to me right now. Even with big game experience. You know, sometimes you have to shake off the nerves, and you got to have something good happen. I think in this drive, they finally pick up a first down. They moved the chains for the first time in this game. And there he had an open receiver. You just got to step into it and throw it. You got to have something good happen. Coaching staff, I think, they need to get him an easy throw, a little hitch route, a little crossing route, something that's easy for him to complete to start to build his confidence.
He's just 1 for 5. But remember, 2 of those incompletions were passes that should have been caught by his receivers. Second down, delayed handoff. Robinson squirts through a couple of tackles, takes a man on hard, and busts it out to the 50-yard line. They'll bring up a 3rd and short. Well, one man who's making a difference right now, or at least trying to, is Tyran Robinson. He is running hard.
Yeah, the coaches feel he's their best football player, and in order to have success or win this football game, they've got to get it in his hands. Well, you can't have that happen. Personal foul on Valdosta State. There's Hatcher there trying to sort things out and figure out who did it. They're finally moving the football. And you do something to hurt your football team, well, it makes it tough.
Dead ball foul. Personal foul. Number 67 on the offense. It will be 3rd down.
It's Will Sheldon, the left tackle. All 6'3", 255 of him. He's a good pass blocker. He's a walk-on who started as a true freshman. He's their best pass blocker. Maybe a little bit of extra at the end of the play, trying to free up Tyran Robinson.
3rd and 17.
So it's now 3rd and 17. Not exactly what the doctor ordered for the Blazers. Someone's going to have to be a hero to move the chains on this drive. Walker from the shotgun. Just a 3-man rush. He has time. Zings it out, pass complete. Tyler Art picks up as much as he can, but then he's pushed out of bounds, and it'll bring up a 4th down.
You know, sometimes you know they're going to drop coverage way back and not really give you a throwing lane to complete it, but you have to do something, complete a pass for your football team. Now, you put it in the coach's hands. It's decision time. Do you go for it, or you give yourself better field position in terms of punting the football, pinning Pitt State back inside of, you know, their 20-yard line or so. Good play, I thought, on the part of Fabian Walker, not trying to force anything and adding to a mistake or making a mistake where Pittsburg State takes over.
Travis Tidwell, another punt. Fair caught inside the 9-yard line. 42-yard boot pins the Gorillas inside the 10-yard line. Well, one man, one sport, one nation. 3, starring Barry Pepper as Dale Earnhardt. 3, presented by Kay Jewelers, premieres tonight at 9 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN HD. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. South Georgia, that's Dale Earnhardt country. Of course, he's from North Carolina, but everyone down in the Southeast knew all about the legacy of Dale Earnhardt. No doubt about that.
I'm looking forward to seeing that myself. I can't wait to see it.
Barry Pepper did a wonderful job. Roger Maris.
Yep.
61 a couple of years ago. Now he's Dale Earnhardt. All right, the Gorillas start out inside their own 10. Neil Philpott wants to throw. Only man back there is a Blazer. Intercepted. Terrence Bell. Galloping. Inside the 40. Inside the 30. Some big hits. Inside the 20-yard line. Oh my, there's some hitting going on, and a Gorilla is still down.
Oh my gosh, Calvin English threw a block on Jermaine Race, who was trying to cover to get down and tackle Terrence Bell, and I mean, he had his bell ring. I mean, just a big-time block. Watch this, they're gonna roll Neil Philpott out, and he's hanging it. Jermaine Carpenter pulls up, and he thinks he's going deep, he pulls up, but watch this block coming into your screen. You can't see it, but you can certainly hear it. I mean, unbelievable. Here's another view. Philpott right here. You see Carpenter pull up, and Terrence Bell is going to come up with the interception. Right now, 99, Calvin English is going to come into your screen. There it is, just cleaned up. Jermaine Race. And we're talking about a guy that has rushed for over 2,000 yards, and right now, he is dizzy.
Terrence Bell, his second interception of the season. We mentioned he's a former Division I player. Began his collegiate career playing at Central Florida, and he's just given the ball back for the Blazers.
When you talk about Valdosta State, earlier in the playoffs, they played against Albany State, and they trailed 24-0 at the half. Came back and won that football game 38-24. So they know how to play from behind. I think in games like this, you just have to stay patient. You have to stay committed to what you're doing. 14 points with the offensive style that they run, that's nothing. They can score 14 in a hurry. The defense has provided them certainly an advantage right now in this drive.
Momentum now on the side of the Blazers for the first time this afternoon. Under a minute to play, first quarter. Walker fakes the handoff, takes it himself, weaves his way forward for a couple of yards. Well, let's go in the Wayback Machine. A couple of weeks ago, Albany State leading Valdosta State 24-0 at halftime. But wouldn't you know it, the Blazers blazed a trail. Getting back into it, they take the lead. Fumble picked up by Sam Reynolds. Run back in, that would cap off a sensational second half for Valdosta State. 38 unanswered points to keep their season alive back in the Division II quarterfinals in late November. So Chris Hatcher knows that this team is a special one with special resolve. Second and 6 to give to Vincent Brown. His best run of the day, gets inside the 10, down to the 5.
Well, he's a guy that's tasted the end zone a couple of times, 12 times this season now. Valdosta State finding some momentum in this football game.
The Blazers have taken a punch, but now they're giving a punch. They're back up off the mat. They're down by 14, but they're knocking on the door as the first quarter comes to an end. The Valdosta State Blazers have a hothead for a mascot. And right now he's fired up because his team is 5 yards away from a possible score, courtesy of that man, Terrence Bell, intercepting a pass and giving momentum to the Valdosta State Blazers. They have a first and goal. Fabian Walker. 4 receivers in the game. 3 to his right, 1 to the left. He hands off. Going the wrong way. Vincent Brown breaks the tackle. Oh, gets down inside the 2-yard line before he is stopped just short of the end line.
Yeah, they string it out pretty good. This Pittsburg State here just trying to go underneath with a handoff. Jimmy Taylor shows up and a bunch of other Pittsburg State guerrillas on defense. And you talk about rallying to the football. When they smell it, boy, they can get there in a hurry. 112 tackles. Look at that number. 59 solos.
Chad Miller and Josh Latimer, the 2 guerrillas, over 100 tackles on the year. Second and goal. Walker fakes the pitch, has a man wide open, Zach Parker. Touchdown, Valdosta State. With the Division II National Championship on the line, there was no way the Blazers were just going to take this game and just kind of forget about it being down 14-0. They were going to be game. You just knew it. All they needed was a little bit of a spark. They got it after the interception, and now they're on the board.
Yeah, just a little play action, got everybody fooled, going one way and misdirection, and wide open is Zach Parker sneaking into the end zone.
One of the best kickers in Division II, Will Rohde, converts the extra point and makes it a 14-7 game. Pittsburg State on top of Valdosta State. Fabian Walker, Zach Parker makes this a game again. Blazers score their first touchdown and make it a 14-7 game. It was just a 4-play, 19-yard drive after the interception by Terrence Bell. Fans that have traveled the 493 miles from Valdosta, Georgia, they are in better spirits now. Michael Green kicks off for Valdosta State, and back in the end zone. A knee is taken by Eric Wright. So the Gorillas will begin on the 20-yard line, and they'll have to be extra special because they're not going to be playing with their top tailback, Jermaine Race, for a while. Yeah, Jermaine Race was just taken to the locker room.
Yeah, and still looked a little woozy as he was walking in. They were asking him some questions, really wasn't responding, so they walked him into the locker room, check him out further.
So Neil Philpott back under center for the Gorillas. Justin Bean has come on to replace Jermaine Race as the tailback behind Joe Taylor. It goes to Taylor, and he rushes for a couple of yards. Let's go down to the field. Jimmy Dykes. Jimmy, what's going on?
Hey, guys, you're talking about that comeback by Valdosta a couple of weeks ago. They were down 24-0 at the half. Head coach Chris Hatcher walked in the locker room and he said two simple things. I got a group of seniors like Torrey Howard that's about to finish their playing career in an hour and a half. The other thing he simply said, you've got yourself into it, you guys get yourself out of it. He turned and walked out of the locker room. At that point, big 57 Torrey Howard stood up and started pushing a lot of buttons in that locker room with his teammates. They came out and took control of that football game. And there's a guy right there. I don't think he's ready to quit again, fellas.
Yeah, Jimmy, beating Albany State in any regard is a great feat. But being down 24-0 and beating Albany State is tremendous. Albany State at that point had a 19-game winning streak. Yet Chris Hatcher's team was able to come back from 24 points down at halftime to beat them and end that 19-game winning streak. That's almost fantastic odds when you think about it. Justin Bean, his first carry, spins out across the 40-yard line, probably the 42, gain of 4.
Yeah, Justin Bean is the cousin of R.W. McQuarters, who plays for the Chicago Bears. The offensive coordinator, Tim Beck, said he's probably the team comedian. But when you talk about Jermaine Race being out of the game, you know, Justin Bean comes in. He's 5.9 yards a carry as well, 3 touchdowns for the season. So he can get the job done as well.
Justin Bean, a sophomore from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Play clock down inside 5. Philpott spins right. Once again, you got to get a whole bunch of bodies on him to bring him down. He dives forward, gain of 6, and a first down for the Gorillas.
He is a big, strong guy. You talk about him, 6'4", 254, and trying to get him on the ground. 60-foot shot putter in high school. A big lower body, can really run the football, and he gets that head of steam going downhill. Look at that, just breaking tackles, and the second effort right there, hand on the ground, still churning for yards. Boy, it is tough to bring down Neil Philpott once he gets a head of steam going.
Philpott averaging over 10 yards per carry so far. He's got 76 yards to his credit. Taylor goes in motion. Philpott wants to throw. Long pass, incomplete. Intended for Tim Austin. Let's go back to the studio and Reese Davis.
All right, Eric, in the 1AA semifinal, winner trying to advance to take on James Madison Friday night for the championship game. Montana and Sam Houston State. That is the Grizzlies. Lex Hilliard going in. Montana now up 31-13. It's on ESPN2.
Yeah, Dustin Long in that football game for Sam Houston State. Another transfer. He transferred there to Sam Houston State from Texas A&M. Set a couple of records a few years ago at Texas A&M. And Reggie McNeil came in, fabulous talent. He had to go somewhere where he was going to get an opportunity to play.
Second down and 10 after the incompletion on first down, and Philpott calls timeout. Looked across to the defense, didn't like what he saw. 12:26 remaining. Pittsburg State on top, 14-7. Welcome back to Florence, Alabama. The Blazers on defense right now, resting after scoring their first touchdown of the game. And Pittsburg State now with the football back. After a timeout, second down and 10. Neil Philpott now from the shotgun. Taylor man in motion. Philpott to the left. Going to keep it himself, but he's brought down. Low tackle, a flag flies late as Philpott is brought down hard by Scott Foss.
Philpott gets a nice cut down block on the edge, and you knew once he saw the green pastures and got the outside, he was going to run for try to run for the first down, but it's coming back with a holding penalty.
Well, in case you're wondering about Pittsburg State, it's in Pittsburg, Kansas, which is in southeast Kansas. They actually call it the hub of southeast Kansas. It's within an hour of Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma. The enrollment for Pittsburg State, close to 7,000. The town of Pittsburg, 19,000. And if you're looking for more of a metropolitan flair, well, they're less than 2 hours away from Kansas City, from Tulsa, from Wichita. So a lot of things around Pittsburgh, Kansas.
A lot of access to a lot of good football players as well, being right there in that area of the country.
2nd and 14 after the penalty. On the blitz, Philpott sees it and hits a man. It's Mike Ward with the reception. A big gainer in the passing game for the Gorillas. Gain of 25.
And he just pops wide open, just a little hot read. They try to bring a little pressure on Neil Philpott, and you'll see the linebacker disappear there, number 45, Cody Thomas. Coming on a blitz, they pick him up, and right in that vacated area, you see Mike Ward just pop right open over the middle of the formation. Easy read for Neil Philpott.
Mike Ward, senior from Augusta, Kansas. 5 touchdowns on the year. Fresh set of downs for the Gorillas. Fullback, Taylor. Gain of a couple. In case you're wondering about the lack of the H on the end of Pittsburgh, you ask them why they don't have the H like the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania has, and they say, why would we? All the other Pittsburghs that are located in the United States, there's a Pittsburgh in Oklahoma, one in Texas, one in California, one in Kansas. All the other Pittsburghs don't have an H.
I'm going to joke and say that it was lost in the move west. The H was lost in the move west.
So that is not a typo. Every time we show the full name, Pittsburg State, without the H at the end of the Pittsburgh. Philpott. Another big gain on 1st down. He rumbles for 9, maybe 10. Philpott is a load, 254 pounds. And that's such a weapon for a quarterback running the option.
Yeah, and a smart guy, and you talk about a load. 4'6", 40 coming at you. And you know what? That's legitimate because you see him move around. He gets to spots on the field in a hurry. When he sees it, he commits to it and accelerates through the hole. And I mean, once he's going through there, you cannot arm tackle Neil Philpott. You got to get a couple of bodies on Big Neil.
It is indeed a 1st down. Coming up at the 10-minute mark here in the 2nd quarter. Philpott again. This time just across right tackle. Gain of 1. Terrell Toomer brings him down. We are here in Florence, Alabama, on the campus of the University of North Alabama. This has been the home for the Division II National Championship for the last 19 years. Pittsburg State taking on Valdosta State. Pittsburg State has already won one national championship. That came back in 1991. Valdosta State, they have never won one. They were here once before 2 years ago, but they lost to Grand Valley State in the final. Neil Philpott has been the real story so far today. He's been running very hard and very well for the Gorillas. Philpott hit hard, but completes his pass. Pass caught at the 15-yard line. Once again, Mike Ward on the catch.
Well, they finally get to him. Hit him pretty good and gets him on the ground. But he's so big, he's going to stand right in there and complete that pass to Mike Ward. You see here, just standing right in there. And I mean, he takes a shot. So does Mike Ward. I mean, Fred Dunn coming off the edge, the right outside linebacker, gets in the face of Neil Philpott, and it doesn't faze him whatsoever.
3rd down and 3. Blazers would love to get a stop here. Philpott pitches out. Bean with the football. Open field tackle is made. Short of the 1st down, Fred Dunn.
Yeah, pretty good job by Fred Dunn. Actually, an excellent job by Fred Dunn of playing off the block of Joe Taylor and fighting to get back outside, to keep outside leverage, not allowing the pitch man to get outside and around the edge. And you got to keep an eye out for a fake here. Andy Majors is the backup quarterback, who's a pretty good player himself when he had to sub in for Neil Philpott. They're trying to add points. The Pittsburg State Gorillas.
Alleman comes in. Just his 11th field goal try of the year. And this one is good. He is now 8 out of 11 on the year. And Pittsburg State tacks on an extra 3. Their fans going ape here in Florence, Alabama. 17-7 is our score.
Today's NCAA Division II football championship game is brought to you by the new Chevrolets. 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months. An American revolution.
That is the Tennessee River flowing close to Florence, Alabama. We're here at Braley Stadium, campus University of North Alabama. Division II National Championship game.
Brown on the return.
Brown on the return, and the football comes loose. Whistle may have blown the play dead.
I think they're going to rule that he was down, Vincent Brown. Yeah, they're just got the signal from the official.
So the football stays with the Valdosta State Blazers.
Here inside, you see him in there trying to strip it out, and right there, forward progress has stopped. The officials had already blown it dead. You see down in there somewhere, there's a little football that had come out.
So the Blazers, fresh off their first score, will retake possession of the football. Fabian Walker, shotgun formation. Walker taking his time. Hands it off. Tyran Robinson, not much doing at all.
You know, I think right now, Valdosta State, they're playing right into the hands.
Let's take a look at our Coca-Cola game track. In case you're just joining us, interception, scored the first point for Pittsburg State, and then Neil Philpott happened. Ran one in for a score, and then, well, finally, Valdosta State able to do something positively. They answer with a touchdown of their own. It's 17-7, Pittsburg State on top.
Yeah, Pittsburg State's able to keep guys in the formation and take away the run from Valdosta State. They're playing right into the hands of the Pittsburg State defense at this point in the ballgame.
Second down, a pull, pass complete. Rod Dalton fights for more yards and gets more yards.
And that's what they're going to need to do. Pick on the outside. When you keep linebackers in, they can't drop in coverage when you run zone coverage out wide into this area. They can't get out there fast enough. It's a big throwing lane for Fabian Walker in this receiving core of Valdosta State. Work the edges, spread them out, and then that's when you'll have some success trying to run the football and soften up the middle of the formation.
Gain of 12 for Rod Dalton. Inside handoff. Robinson again having a hard time getting going. Let's go down in the field. Jimmy, what's happening down there?
Well, guys, talking about Fabian Walker, the quarterback, former Florida State quarterback, they made one adjustment when he got to that Valdosta campus. And under what they did, his pre-throw setup had the ball about here. They raised it up about 10 inches to get it higher. They feel like that's really helped him. But I want you to explain why that little adjustment has helped Fabian Walker as a passer.
Well, what it does is that he doesn't have to bring the ball up. One, it affects timing, and two, you don't get a lot of tip balls because you're carrying the ball low and you got to bring it up, and you tend to have a release point which comes from a low area. A lot of guys, defensive linemen, linebackers can get their hands on the football.
Walker slings this one out complete to Darrell Stevens. Senior with his first catch.
And Fabian Walker, he carried it high and got it out quick, and it allows for just a little bit quicker release. When you carry it high, all you got to do is bring the football back and forward. When you carry it low, like Jimmy was demonstrating, you got to bring the football up, then it comes back and forward. A lot of linebackers can time just a split second. That's all it takes to break on a football, and it's the difference between a completion or an interception going the other way.
Walker has thrown one interception so far today, but that wasn't his fault. It was a ball that was not caught by his running back, Tyran Robinson. Went through his fingers and into the waiting hands of Jimmy Taylor, who returned it for a score. Well, we just told you about Pittsburg, Kansas. What about Valdosta, Georgia? There it is, middle of the state, but at the southern tip of the state. It is about 20 minutes away from the Florida State border. It's in Lowndes County where they play wonderful high school football. It's just a fantastic pipeline of football players into that program. Enrollment, a little over 9,000.
Yeah, tough conference, that Gulf South Conference that they play in from year to year. Very, very competitive Division II football conference.
Second down and long. Another completion. Rod Dalton again makes a man miss. Finally brought down, but not before he gets another first down and a big gain for the Blazers. 13 more yards for Valdosta State.
Yeah, David Dean, the offensive coordinator, he's found a soft spot and some easy throws. Remember, we talked earlier in this football game about trying to find Fabian Walker some easy throws to build his confidence. Now all of a sudden you're starting to see a little more zip. You're starting to see him step into some throws, easy little hitch routes on the outside, allowing for his receivers to make some plays.
Once again, working that play clock. Ball snapped with 2 seconds left on it. Walker floats one out. Oh! Dalton makes a catch. A ball was almost intercepted, but it finds its way to Dalton, who has been a force on this drive.
Well, I'll tell you what, Fabian Walker got away with one because he was staring down his receiver, Rod Dalton, who's just going to kind of sit in the area outside here. When they break coverage, go cover two, he got enough arm strength or enough strength on the football to squeeze it in. Look at this real-time look. I mean, barely gets that football in to Rod Dalton.
Noah Hoppe, his eyes got as big as silver dollars. He thought he had an interception going the other way, but he just missed the football. So, first down, ball on the 11-yard line. Walker throws it out right side, has a man, complete. Callaway brought down hard inside the 5-yard line. Gain of 7.
Well, Clay Callaway, his dad is an offensive coordinator at Georgia, was down at Houston a couple of years ago as well. He was a high school quarterback that switched to receiver. His brother starts there now.
And he got hit. He's being attended to on the sideline.
Took a big lick. But Fabian Walker, you see him there. He's starting to get hot, starting to spread this football around to a couple of different receivers. And now he's got Pittsburg State, their defense, a little bit off balance.
Walker, a perfect 6 for 6 on this drive. He has come alive, to say the least. Takes the handoff, calls his own number, and scores the touchdown.
Well, he get him one-on-one on the corner with a defensive end or a linebacker because they go 4 wides and spread it out. They got to account down in the red zone for all 4 receivers. It removes a man from the middle of the formation. Now you show play action or you show the run. The linebackers bite. You got Fabian Walker one-on-one. He can make a guy miss, which he did there. He's going to walk in the end zone.
The Blazers are red hot offensively. Their second consecutive touchdown drive. And now the extra point makes it a 3-point game. Will Rohde, no problem on that PAT. And just like that, Valdosta State right back into it. Fabian Walker rushes it in, his 5th rushing touchdown of the year, and it's a 3-point game. Pittsburg State still on top, but only by 3. Valdosta State, 2 consecutive touchdowns on their last 2 drives. Well, the Division I Men's Soccer Championship is tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. For a preview of the Men's College Cup, visit NCAAsports.com, the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships.
And we've got ourselves a football game.
This game has been as advertised, competitive and high scoring. Kick to the end zone, and Jermaine Carpenter takes a knee. Fabian Walker was splendid on that last drive. A perfect 6 for 6, 62 yards worth of passing, and he called his own number and ran it in from 4 yards out to complete a 9-play, 69-yard drive.
You know, I was talking with Tim Beck about the success of this offense for Pittsburg State. And he said they run about 65 to 70% of the time. And they run about 65–70% of the time, and it's been the pass efficiency that's been the difference in their causing them to be effective on offense.
Phil Pop, again, a And he takes a massive hit. He's knocked out of bounds, but he gets first down yards. Let's go back to the studio and Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Eric, coming up at halftime, Mark May is here with me. We will talk about the Heisman Trophy hopefuls and who might win tonight in New York. Also ready for the 1AA championship on Friday. Tell you who's headed that way, and the Illini basketball continued to roll.
I'm not afraid to tell the country who I voted for the Heisman 1, 2, and 3, but there's some people in the studio who will only give up their first two. And
in no particular order. But by the way, Eric, I'm upset with you. You should refer to Andre now as Hall of Famer Andre Ware.
That is my fault. Yeah, Reese, you're 100% from now on. College Hall of Famer Andre Ware. A special week for you, Andre, getting inducted back on Tuesday. Congratulations, my man.
Thanks a bunch. It was a lot of fun Tuesday night, and I'll tell you, that banquet, if you had never gone to it, get yourself a ticket, because everybody in the college football world of football, they are at that banquet. It was a boatload of fun. Boatload of fun.
Andre, I know you don't like to talk very much. You're a very quiet guy, but how did the speech go? You had to give one.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, you were trying to represent decades of football in terms of, Jack Tatum and Lydell Mitchell, and you try to pump that all together and make it come out a certain way. It was a lot of fun. It came out very well. We enjoyed ourselves Tuesday night.
2nd down and 5, Pittsburg State. Pass incomplete. And let's go back to Tuesday night. This was the scene in New York City as my partner, Andre Ware, is on.
Andre Ware.
How about that, Andre? What a special moment that you'll never forget, I'm sure. The College Football Hall of Fame.
Never forget it, and I'll tell you what, I never dreamed of being in that position. You play football as a kid, and you have a lot of success, and you just want to just do the right thing in terms of playing football and playing it the right way. Well, who knows, you end up in New York.
3rd down and 6, Jermaine Carpenter slips down, but I think he has enough for the first down. And Andre, Heisman Trophy, College Hall of Fame, where do you rate the two?
Well, I think they go hand in hand. I don't think you can outweigh one with the other. Like I said, you just dream of really playing the game for as long as you can play it and doing it to the best way you possibly can. As a kid, you only dream about having the type of success that we had at Houston. And, I played with a good group of guys there, and they deserve just as much credit as I do. But I don't think one outranks the other at this point.
And in high school, you were a running quarterback.
I was. I got to U of H. We were running the veer. I was recruited as a veer quarterback and wound up as a run and shoot quarterback.
Good gain for Neil Philpott. Good chunky yards, close to first down yardage. Tonight, join ESPN for a night of America's greatest. At 8 Eastern, it's down to 5. As Matt Leinart, Adrian Peterson, Jason White, Reggie Bush, and Alex Smith are the finalists for the Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Suzuki. And then at 9 Eastern, it's the ESPN Original Entertainment Movie 3, starring Barry Pepper as Dale Earnhardt, presented by Kay Jewelers. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
I talked a little bit earlier about Tim Beck and the success of this Pittsburg State offense, and him saying they run 65–70% of the time. But the surprise was in pass efficiency, where you have two quarterbacks that played for you, Philpott and Majors, one completing 57% of his passes, and Majors, when he came in, it went up 67% of his passes. That's been the surprise that has allowed for them to have so much success on offense.
We have yet to see Andy Majors take a snap as a quarterback so far.
Well, the way Philpott's playing, we may not see it.
Philpott already over 100 yards rushing. He's at 119. Pass complete. His tight end, Brandon Twido, with the catch, and again, the hitting continues. He's brought down with some anger after a gain of 11.
Yeah, Coach Chuck Broyles, he made it clear that it is Philpott's team. If he's going to go, they're going to have success. It's going to be because of Neil Philpott. Only Andy Majors may get some spot time in this football game, and he actually just checked himself in, so he's in the game. This is maybe a little late hit out of bounds. Just a slip there. But Andy Majors is in the football game, breaking the huddle as a wide receiver in the huddle with Neil Philpott.
Majors, left side, near side.
That's him there.
He is the backup quarterback, who's a wonderful athlete. Let's see if they have a special play made for him. Oh, my! Philpott has his head taken off by Tim Thompson. Fumble, and the ball is going to go to the Blazers. That is just the third time all year that an opposing team has gotten to the quarterback and sacked the Gorilla quarterback.
And you talk about all the success that they've had on offense in terms of the way they throw the football between the two quarterbacks and a lot of running. That's only the 3rd sack for the season.
Tim Thompson came in like his hair was on fire and gives the ball back over to the Blazers. Thompson and the Black Swarm defense of Valdosta State has just given the ball back to their offense.
Yeah, and you see Tim Thompson's going to come free right in the middle of your screen. Right here, he's going to have a beeline to the quarterback, and he's going up top. And I'm kind of surprised that maybe that didn't result in a personal foul.
Bama Adams catches the pass and gets out to the 40-yard line. Gain of 15 on a quick hitter for Valdosta State.
Well, Valdosta State now rolling. That may just be the quarterback in me. Trying to protect Neil Philpott and all the quarterbacks. I'm always trying to protect quarterbacks.
Chris Hatcher, a former wonderful quarterback in his own right, a former Harlan Hill Award winner as the best player in Division II right here at Valdosta State.
And he's won a bunch of ball games, 58-7 as their head coach.
89% winning percentage. Threw for over 50 touchdowns his senior year, playing for Hal Mumme here at Valdosta State. They want another score before they go to the locker room. They could take the lead before heading to the locker room if things go right. Robinson with the carry, gets good yards on 1st down before he's tripped up by Josh Latimer.
Now they got to keep an eye on this clock. It's going to move when they get a 1st down, but they decide to take a timeout. Only 31 seconds left in this half, and they do need to get points and momentum going into halftime.
We'll take a timeout. Valdosta State still has 2 remaining, 31 seconds remaining. Welcome back to Brawley Stadium here in Florence, Alabama, the site of the 2004 Division II National Championship, and this is how these teams got here. Quarterfinal action, Pittsburg State took down Northwest Missouri State, a wonderful team that Pittsburg State actually defeated twice on the year, and then they knocked off their longtime nemesis, the North Dakota Fighting Sioux, to make it to this final game. While Valdosta State, they defeated teams with the Golden Rams nickname back-to-back weeks. They took down Albany State, and then a week ago, they defeated Westchester from Pennsylvania. Now they have a 2nd and 1. 31 ticks remaining in the 1st half. Walker, pass not caught. Intended for Darrell Stevens. He had it and then dropped it after a lick from Josh Latimer.
Now you got to throw the football in that situation because it does just what it did there. Stop the clock if it's an incompletion. Otherwise, if you pick it up, it's going to stop it when they move the chains. That one should have resulted in a reception. Got to keep your eyes on the football first. I think maybe he was trying to avoid the hit that was coming. It's going to hurt just as much. You may as well catch the football.
3rd and 1. What's the play call here, Andre?
Pick up the 1st. They got a receiver right here at the top of the screen that's wide open and uncovered. Just give him the football right now.
Instead, Walker tries to run for it, and he's going to get enough for the 1st down. So the clock will stop temporarily as they move the chains. They still have 2 timeouts remaining here in this 1st half. So if they don't get this play started quickly, they may as well just call a timeout.
Yeah, you know, I don't really know why they're rushing it with those 2 timeouts. Just go ahead and use one.
Clock continues to run. They're wasting valuable time. Walker with a shuttle pass. Robinson, room to run up the middle. Down to the 10 with 8 seconds remaining in the 1st half. Now down to 7, and they call timeout. Pickup of 18, and Chris Hatcher's team had the element of surprise right there to get down to the 10.
Well, they wasted a lot of time here. They make it look like pass. They're just going to shovel it down inside to Terran Robinson right there. Invite everybody up the field. You got man-to-man coverage behind it. Now you have defensive backs chasing wide receivers. Nobody to account for the screen back.
So 1st down for Valdosta State. Timeout on the field. 1 man, 1 sport, 1 nation. 3 starting Barry Pepper as Dale Earnhardt. 3 presented by Kay Jewelers, premieres tonight at 9 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN HD. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
Yeah, 3, the difference in this football game in driving fast is Valdosta State.
You'd imagine just 1 play for Valdosta State. Can they try and squeeze in 2?
I tell you what, it's got to be a quick pass. If you're going to try it with 7 seconds, it's got to be in the corner. You know, the short side, maybe lob it, and it, you know, make sure your receiver's going to catch it or it's going out of bounds, but they're going to elect to go for the field goal right now. It's not a bad call either. Something bad happens with a fumble snap. You still have a timeout left, and you can line up and do it again.
Oh, okay. So instead of going for a touchdown, at least on one play, they're going to attempt a 27-yard field goal. Will Rohde, no problems for him. He's missed just once so far this season. He's now 21 out of 22. He's fantastic, folks, and he's tied this game up at 17 apiece.
Yeah, when you talk to their head coach there, Chris Hatcher, says, in practice, it's not pretty. I mean, he'll miss them all day in practice, but when we get into games, I don't talk to him because he doesn't miss. You know, he's like a golfer that's just hot. You don't want to talk to him, mess up his rhythm. He gets in the games, he comes through.
Will Rohde, earlier this year, made 18 consecutive field goals, and here in Division II, actually at any level of football, having a kicker who's that consistent gives you the utmost confidence in what you guys are doing. And for Chris Hatcher's thoughts on his kicker, let's listen in.
Just a guy that does well in the game. I mean, at practice, never kicks one through the uprights. Nobody says a word. He gets in the game, he seems to make them all. I never talk to him during the course of the week. I'll shake his hand after the game, and other than that, I'll let him do his own thing, and he's done well doing it this season.
Mr. Consistency right there.
Will Rohde.
See the Division II record. He holds it with 19 straight field goals made.
Kickoff takes a couple of ounces and is fielded. It's run out to the 21-yard line by Eric Clausen. But that will be the final play of the first half. Chuck Broyles and his Pittsburg State Gorillas are in a dogfight. It's a 17-17 tie as we played the first 30 minutes of the 2004 Division II National Championship game. Pittsburg State looking for their second national championship. Valdosta State looking for their first ever national championship. Let's go back down to Jimmy Dykes. Jimmy.
Coach, your offense has been held to 2 scores this first half. What are they doing defensively to you?
Well, I think they're being real aggressive up front. Of course, they've got a couple of turnovers, and that's a big part right now. We lost Jermaine Race. I don't know if he'll get back in the game or not. And right now, well, it's not going to be easy, 17-17. So we're in for a battle, it looks like.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time.
Hey, thank you.
Guys.
Thank you, Jimmy. It's a 17-17 tie. Now let's go to the NCAA Championship studio with Reese Davis and Mark May.
And glad to have you with us. You know, this is only the second time this season, 15th game for Pittsburg State, just the second time that they haven't had the lead at halftime, and only the third time in those 15 games that this prolific offense has been held under 3 touchdowns and a half. Valdosta State's done a nice job on D.
Yeah, and head coach Chris Hatcher has to be very proud of his group. Only giving up 17 points, but the other thing, they've got the momentum going into halftime. What was interesting to me is the first couple of series for Pittsburg State, they were able to run their option with a lot of success. But Valdosta State countered that in the second quarter. That was key. They're bringing that safety up, getting 8 in the box, and slowing down the option of Pittsburg State. I think that's been key for this football team. Plus, the turnovers hadn't hurt either.
We'll see if that defense can continue to slow down. This offense is averaging right around 58 points per game, locked up at 17. Got a barn burner going on in Florence. Also had a strong performance. You know, you have to be like the fabulous Thunderbird said, tough enough, and Montana was. And maybe Jason Wyatt will be tough enough to collect his second Heisman tonight. We'll handicap the field.
Well, if we were scripting this, we couldn't ask for a better script. It is tied here at halftime in Florence, Alabama. Pittsburg State and Valdosta State, 17 apiece. And Andre, let's take a look at our Home Depot coaching adjustments. What needs to be done?
Well, if you're Pittsburg State, you look at it, you got to avoid turnovers, and they need help from Neil Philpott. You got to get some other spark in the running game to help him out. If you're Valdosta State, find the open receivers. They're going to had some opportunities early in the football game to hit some open slot receivers, uncovered receivers. That will help them there. And tackle in numbers. When they get to Neil Philpott, get him on the ground, show up in numbers, a bunch of guys around the football.
Valdosta State had every opportunity to kind of just roll up and die when they were down 14-0 early, but they didn't. They made a big statement coming back.
Well, that's kind of been their team, their MO all season long. They get behind, they play bad early, and then all of a sudden they show a surge and come back in the football game. They did it here. They stayed the course, stayed with the game plan, worked themselves back into this football game. And boy, holding a team that averages 57 points to just 17, got to be pretty impressed with that.
Well, we're ready for second half action. Both teams have come out of the locker room and they are back on the field. And Fabian Walker just itching to get his hands on the football, but he'll have to wait. Neil Philpott and the Pittsburg State Gorillas will handle the football first after this kickoff. Michael Green will kick things off to begin the second half. Kick is high, kick is deep, and it's fielded at the 1-yard line. Eric Clausen is brought down with a vengeance inside the 15, but maybe something nefarious on that play as a flag comes flying.
Boy, it's a whole lot of get after it on that sideline of Valdosta State. I mean, just some vicious licks in this football game.
No, it's going to be against Pittsburg State.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, every time there's a flag, it's against the return team. Very rarely is it against the team that kicks the football. What you see here, just everybody showing up and showing up angry around the football. That's what they got to do.
It's on the return team. Down.
So the football will be placed inside the 10-yard line, in between the 7- and 8-yard line. There's Chris Hatcher, just 31 years of age, already in his 5th season as the head coach at Valdosta State.
Great deal of success. Talked to him about, you know, they're going to come calling all this success you're having down here at Valdosta State. And he said, hey, you know, we just want to continue winning. Try to downplay it, but it's the truth. You know, when you win and you have success in a program like he's running, well, it opens the eyes of many around the country.
Jermaine Race is back in the game for Pittsburg State. He doesn't get the football as Philpott keeps it for a gain of 2. But that is a very big story if Jermaine Race is able to play here in the second half. He had just a couple of carries in the first half before he was just taken out, knocked silly on an interception return.
And you just hope he's okay and he's got everything functioning right, because he was really woozy after that big-time hit by Calvin English on the interception return. And they're going to need him in this football game to help out Neil Philpott, because they'll start keeping 8 guys around the line of scrimmage to shut down the quarterback running the football.
Philpott tries the right side, and again, he's bottled up and brought down.
No gain.
How about the job that Ashley Anders, the defensive coordinator for Valdosta State, has done to kind of stymie this option attack, and Neil Philpott here early and at the end of the first half, they kind of got things under wraps, forced them in a couple of punting situations, but keeping guys at home, I think it's, you got to play your position, stay at home, play fundamentally sound when you're playing against the option. One guy out of place can cost you a huge, huge play.
There's Calvin English, the big fella inside. He has had a very important job of busting up these option plays before they get started. Philpott, the throw on third down, passes low and incomplete. Intended for Jermaine Carpenter. And the ball went into the hands and out of the hands. It'll bring up a 4th down, and the punt team will have to come on. And how rare is this? A 3-and-out for Pittsburg State.
That may have been their second one in this football game, but I tell you, that's a confidence builder right there, because they're going to get some excellent field position and plus yardage territory across the 50-yard line in Pittsburg State territory to start their first drive of the second half. A lot of momentum right now for this Valdosta State football team.
Andy Majors loses the handle, trying to run it out of the end zone, and he's thrown out of the back of the end zone for a safety. Maurice Leggett came in after the low snap, and Chuck Broyles is disgusted.
Well, he may be disgusted because of the safety, but Andy Majors just made a fabulous play. Whenever you miss a fumble like that, you don't want to get tackled back there. He just kind of gets it out of the end zone. You don't want to have something bad happen where it's a fumble, get the football, get on it, or just throw it out of the back of the end zone. Because you mess around and you're fumbling that thing around, Valdosta State recovers it, and it goes from 2 points to a touchdown.
So now, both teams' defenses have scored. Ashley Anders' defense just putting 2 points on the board with that safety. Back in the first half, Pittsburg State intercepted a ball, and Jimmy Taylor ran it in for a touchdown for the game's first score. And now, for the very first time, Valdosta State not only has momentum, but they have the lead. They're up by a deuce.
Yeah, and they have the football with the lead and the momentum. And Fabian Walker, they finally found a way to get him some easy throws. He seems comfortable. The offense is moving around there. He's getting the football to a lot of different receivers. So everybody's getting to join in the fun, so to speak. They're rolling on this Valdosta State sideline.
So, a free kick here will be kicked off from the 20-yard line. On the return, Vincent Brown with room to roll. One man to beat. And Vincent Brown is hauled down at the 25-yard line.
Boy, he picked up some pretty good blocks along the way. They built a little wall on a right return, showed it going left and came back right. And I mean, you're going to see an alley right in here where he's going to cut through number 20. Tyron Robinson throws him one fabulous block, and then it's all on the part of Vincent Brown. Great field position to start this first drive for Valdosta State and Fabian Walker.
Vincent Brown rumbles for 42 yards. Ball on the 25-yard line. Fabian Walker will take his first snap here the second half. Out of the shotgun. Throws over the middle. Dangerous pass. Incomplete. Intended for Zach Parker. Let's take a look at our game track brought to you by Coca-Cola. The Gorillas got on the board in the first minute of the game. Interception for a touchdown by Jimmy Taylor. First possession of the game offensively. The Gorillas get a touchdown, make it 14-0. Then Valdosta State, 17 second quarter points to go to the locker room tied at 17 apiece, and now a safety to get things started in the third quarter. And the Blazers with their first lead. Walker slings it. Parker with the football, puts the head down, drops the football. And the Gorillas have the football. Chad Miller with the fumble recovery.
Well, the worst thing that could possibly happen just happened to Valdosta State. And you talk about football being an emotional game. Boy, it swings big time. They finally get to the big tight end. Zach Parker swings it out to him, uncovered, and he's trying to fight for extra yards. He just didn't cover the football up. You get a lot of guys around you like that, you have got to cover the football up with both hands. Number 48, Chad Miller, is the guy that comes in, strips it out, and recovers the fumble.
Heck of a double play there for Miller. The strip and the recovery, and he gives momentum, at least for the moment, back to the Gorillas. Breaks his best run of the game. Breaks free across the 35 out to the 38-yard line.
Well, we got a player from Valdosta State. He's down.
That's Gio Blaylock, who's down and being attended to back at the 22-yard line. Blaylock, one of the outside backers, down close to where the line of scrimmage was.
Yeah, he's not a player with a bunch of blazing speed. He's just always in the right place at the right time. They moved him over to Will linebacker this year because of a bunch of injuries. He played the strong side last year.
We're here in Florence, Alabama, alongside Andre Ware with Jimmy Dykes. I'm Eric Collins. This is the Division II National Championship game. Win and be immortalized, or lose and wonder what if. And Gio Blaylock now up and on his feet, hopefully just a little bit shooken up.
What a good football name, though, Jermaine Race. And he certainly raced his way to over 2,000 yards this year. I'll tell you, he got his bell rung early in this football game, but to come back and all of a sudden he's contributing to this Pittsburg State offense.
Philpott tries the right side. And Philpott finally brought down by Cody Thomas, who got him by an ankle. Gain of 7.
I think Philpott could play a lot of places. Division II, Division I, he could go anywhere. Big guy, 6'4", 254. He's got, I think that the thing that has surprised me about him is his arm strength. He throws a tight spiral, and it gets there in a hurry. Drops with him, he can run, he's mobile. What a lot of people are looking for. I mean, he's a big-time player.
But you can just see when college coaches came to his house, back when he was in high school, they said, son, you're a tight end. Son, you're a linebacker.
He's a big guy.
Philpott to his left. Pass is tipped and knocked down. They're getting good pressure on Philpott when he drops back now. Here's Neil Philpott, guy who can do a little bit of everything. He can run it, and he can throw it.
Talking about a player that can burn you on the ground as well as in the air, and a big, strong guy there. You see the arm strength throwing on the run. He can really, really move this football team. 4-year starter, 38-7 as a starter at Pittsburg State.
But he's probably the happiest guy in town. That Jermaine Race is in the backfield with him.
Oh, yeah.
After having his bell rung in the first half, having a stud in the backfield with you really opens everything up. This time, nothing doing. Trying the inside. Ball is bobbled by Philpott. He corrals it, and he's thrown to the ground by Tracy Flanoy.
Yeah, that's like Batman, you know, rolling around without Robin. You know, you got to have the 1-2 punch with Philpott and Jermaine Race. But Valdosta State, to their credit, they hold and force Pittsburg State to punt this football again. A lot of guys, you talk about having to tackle in numbers. Now they're starting to show up, and that's what it's going to take to get a big guy like Philpott on the ground.
Last snap was no good. This one a heck of a lot better. And Major picks the ground ball. It's feeded by Bama Adams, who gets a couple of yards before he's brought down at the 28-yard line. That's where the Blazers will start this possession, up by 2 points. 11:01 remaining, third quarter. Valdosta State on top by 2. Looking for more. They have the football at the 28-yard line. Fabian Walker, 12 out of 18, 122 yards and a touchdown after a slow start. Completed just one of his first 5 passes, but he's changed that around. 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left. Wants to throw on first down. Throws high, intended for Bama Adams. Let's take a look at how Valdosta State got here. Stubbed their toe very first week of the season, losing to the Golden Rams of Alabama State. But after that, nothing but W's. They ran off 12 consecutive wins to get here to the championship game.
Yeah, they had to have a couple of comeback wins. We mentioned the fact against Albany State, the second of the last game there, trailed 24-0 at halftime and came back and won that quarterfinal game, 38-24, 38 unanswered points. And that guy right there led him back in a big, big comeback to get him into this championship game.
This is Valdosta State's 4th playoff game of 2004. Beat Carson Newman, Albany State, and Westchester. Walker showing good speed, breaks a tackle, breaks another, and is finally pushed out of bounds just shy of the 50-yard line. Gain of 21 yards.
And that's a dimension that you really don't account for. Pittsburg State really wasn't thinking about when you talk about Fabian Walker. His ability to run the football. He is a tremendous athlete. As you mentioned the fact earlier, 71% completion percentage, but there's the extra that he gives you. Showing the ball inside, and then it's just determination and speed to get outside, pick up the first down.
Jeremy Neville kept him from going the distance. He was the last man back there, and he was able to push him out of bounds. Good numbers for the senior from Americus, Georgia. Once again, 4 receivers for Walker. Let's go down to Jimmy Dykes. Jimmy.
Hey, guys, I talked to Chris Hatcher yesterday. I said, Coach, describe your football team to me. He said, first of all, they're a resilient bunch. Now, listen to this. They do not have a practice facility on campus, so every day this year, this Valdosta club has loaded up in a yellow school bus, a couple of school vans, the coach's old pickup truck. They go down the road about 2 miles to an intramural field to practice on. He said not one time has one player complained about having to do that. He said, my guys, basically, they just love to play football, guys, and we're seeing that resiliency right now out of his team.
Chris Hatcher makes it fun to play football, too, and that's a big reason why they're so successful. Thanks, Jimmy. Little shuttle pass inside. Vincent Brown. Good gainer there down to the 39. Let's hear from Coach Hatcher talking about how his team has come together so far this season.
I wouldn't say it's going to be it was a surprise getting here, because you always expect to win. I mean, that's what you instill in your players, always believe that you're going to get the job done. But due to all the newcomers, I didn't know if it was going to be possible. But, boy, we have really come close together as a football team. And each week it just seems like when you look up at the scoreboard, we found a way to have one more point than the other team.
And right now they have 2 more points than the Pittsburg State Gorillas. And looking for more. Fabian Walker, another quick little hitch out there to Bama Adams. This time he catches it for a short gain.
They really like to get the football in his hands, but just unable to. They like him in the screen game. They split him out wide, and a couple of times they've tried to go through him. Fabian Walker shot one over his head, thrown that one a little low. They want to catch it with him coming right back down the line of scrimmage on the run, and it's got to be a touch pass. It's got to be a catchable football where it's not too much zip on it and not enough on it. It's got to be a perfectly thrown pass where he catches it and turns right up the field. They're pulling the tackle, trying to kick out on the cornerback, unable to get him the football on the run so far.
Walker again has a man open. Travis Taylor, his first catch of the second half, gain of 14.
And those are those slot receivers that he's working on. You're getting those matchups that you want. When they got 3 linebackers in the game, they cannot cover slot receivers. You get them out here in space right there. Just sit down real fast, and you see the inside linebacker, Jimmy Taylor, trying to work from inside out. Fabian Walker times it just right. Catch and throw and allow for your receivers, Travis Taylor, to make plays for you.
Valdosta State has twice as many passing yards as Pittsburg State. The give, Robinson breaks the tackle. Robinson, touchdown! "23-yard scamper for Tyran Robinson, the senior. And Valdosta State up 25-17, pending the extra point. Robinson was hit hard once he got over the goal line. Yeah, and he's a little bit woozy right now, but he's happy woozy.
If you score, it doesn't hurt all that much. Right here, just all on him. He breaks 2 tackles right there, gets back inside, and he picks up a block. It's a little bit woozy, but success they're having throwing the football outside on the edges to the slot receivers, and the wide receivers on the hitch routes have removed the linebackers from the middle of the formation where they're trying to run that 4-2, keep guys in to protect against the run. Now the linebackers got to split out wide, softens up everything. Only Jimmy Taylor, the middle linebackers inside. A little bit easier to block when you got 5 in the box as opposed to 6 and 7.
Right now, Tyran Robinson is hoping that his family members remember to set the VCR for today's game, because he may not remember that last touchdown. He was stuck the minute he got to the goal line. Actually dropped the football, but he had already scored.
And when you run an offense like they run, this 4-wide set, and no defense that you call can be right, because if you try to remove them and play zone, now I'm just going to run the football. You keep them in tight, I'm going to throw the football. It's simple as 1 + 1.
Up by 8, possibly 9. Will Rohde, the southpaw kicker. No problem. And courtesy of Tyran Robinson's hard running, Valdosta State up by 9.
Today's NCAA Division II Football Championship game is brought to you by Coca-Cola. Let's make it real. And Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge.
There's the Tennessee River, and just on the other side of the Tennessee River from Florence, Alabama, is Muscle Shoals, Alabama. But all the activity this evening in this neck of the woods is right here at Brawley Stadium, the Division II National Championship. Valdosta State on top by 9. Jermaine Carpenter on the run out, gets to the 20, and that's it. Well, we mentioned Muscle Shoals on the other side of the Tennessee River. This is really the main thing going on in Muscle Shoals. The Fame Recording Studios, some huge names: Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett, Wayne Allman, Liza Minnelli, and the Osmonds, all at one time or another recorded in Muscle Shoals some of their greatest hits at the Fame Recording Studios. Andre, you're a big music guy.
Yeah.
I knew you'd get a big kick out of that.
You just educated me on that one. I did not know all that. You provided me with some information.
And off on first down, Jermaine Race racing to nowhere. Andre, here's some of your favorites. I know you're a big fan of Paul Anka, Wilson Pickett, Aretha Franklin. You're Having My Baby. Paul Anka, that's a classic. Remember that one?
I can't say I remember that one. One Bad Apple.
The Osmonds.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, that's a catchy one. Mustang Sally, everyone's got that one down.
Some nice stuff made over there.
We have a new quarterback in the game for Pittsburg State, Andy Majors. He's a junior from Overland Park, and Gorilla fans know that this is not a panic situation for the Gorillas. Majors normally plays a number of series throughout the game. They flip it out. Jermaine Carpenter gets a couple of yards, but a flag flies.
Yeah, it's coming back. It's going to be holding on Tim Austin, the receiver, out wide. They try to just swing it out, and what they're doing with Andy Majors, just trying to find a spark. I don't know how much more of a spark you need with the game that Neil Philpott has played, but I thought he's done a fabulous job just trying to find a spark with Andy Majors. He seems to come in the game and make things happen. There you see Neil Philpott. He's played an excellent game, in my opinion.
Illegal block in the back. Number 83 on the offense. Replay, second down.
Well, you'll see the hole here, just swinging it out wide, and the receiver right there. There's the hole for you. Trying to block for Jermaine Carpenter. And he just kind of gets caught as Jermaine's making his way by. He forgot to let go.
Four receivers in the game for the Gorillas. Second down and 17. Majors to throw. Has a man. Out to the 37-yard line. Tim Austin on the reception, gain of 24.
Yeah, and you talk about Andy Majors. He's the thrower of the two, more or less. 67% completion percentage this year. Just read things out. Going to wait right until he clears the linebackers and put it in the hole between the linebackers and the free safety. Boy, what a fabulous throw on the part of Andy Majors.
Tim Austin, the play before, cost his team 10 yards on the block in the back. He just gave his team 24 there.
It's a good exchange.
Majors again to throw. Sets up a screen. Joe Taylor has the football. He is brought down. Oh, big hit made by Spencer Fortson. Taylor. After a gain of 7. Well, folks, a special evening here on ESPN. Tonight, a night of America's greatest. At 8 Eastern, it's down to 5 as Matt Leinart, Adrian Peterson, Jason White, Reggie Bush, and Alex Smith are the finalists for the Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Suzuki. Then at 9 Eastern, it's the ESPN Original Entertainment Movie 3, starring Barry Pepper as Dale Earnhardt, presented by Kate Jewelers. Second down and 3. Pass This is high, but Austin brings it down and breaks a couple of tackles. Bent down at the 40-yard line inside Valdosta State territory. Gain of 15 big yards.
Yeah, and an easy read. They're just going to roll the quarterback, and his read is the corner. If the corner drops back in 3-deep coverage, he's going to throw outside to Tim Austin. If not, he's going to throw to the corner route. This guy going here on the corner route. He's reading it out. The corner drops off. They're just going to drop it out to Tim Austin and let him do his work. If the corner stays up, he's going over the top to the corner route. Good, excellent read and good timing by Andy Majors.
So somewhat of a dubious decision to take out Neil Philpott, but Majors has made it look like a brilliant move. Jermaine Race, hard running there. Gain of 7, maybe 8 on first down.
Well, what a weapon it is to have Jermaine Race back in the football game. 4.5 speed, tough runner. And on an interception, he's just down trying to cover and tackle somebody. Boy, he takes a huge shot by Calvin English early in the football game, but he's back and he's playing some fantastic football for his Pittsburg State Gorillas.
Second down, roll out, going to the end zone. Passes batted away, intended for Jermaine Carpenter. On the coverage, Terrence Bell. Got a fist on the football and forced the incompletion.
Well, you see the arm strength of Andy Majors on the run, throwing it, and he must have launched that one about 40 yards, just right there on the run, and he throws a pretty accurate football, just a little bit behind Jermaine Carpenter, but he's quick, fast. They say he's a little more athletic than Neil Philpott. I mean, right there, he just didn't turn around, but he made a play, and no, that's not pass interference. He'll come back and go to third down.
Andy Majors never met a razor that he liked. He hasn't shaved since media day in August. Third down and 2, calls his own number and gets the first down. Big play right there for the junior from Overland Park, Kansas.
Yeah, they say that he's so talented. He's just behind a guy, 4-year starter Neil Philpott, but he could start for any other team in their conference. The numbers, 67%. 1,600 yards, 19 touchdown passes, only 3 interceptions for Andy Majors, and that's getting it done in a part-time role.
Probably one of the reasons why Neil Philpott didn't get more consideration for the Harlan Hill Trophy, which is given out to the best Division II players.
Man, it's going to be Andy Majors next year. He's just a junior. It'll be his team.
First down, Majors again has his man. It's Austin once again. Gets down to the 9-yard line. Another big gainer, this time 19 yards. Shoot up on that passing catch.
Well, you see the receivers here just kind of rolling, and you're going to get a curl route right in the middle. Look at that, right there. Everybody flows outside. The receiver comes inside into the first window. Tim Austin hooking up with his quarterback, Andy Majors, and a good read. I mean, you send a guy to the flat, they take everybody out, and all of a sudden there's a big throwing lane in the curl inside for Andy Majors.
10th play of this drive. Jermaine Race brought down just shy of the end line.
Jermaine Race, all 5'11", 217 pounds of him, from Warrensburg, Missouri.
Folks, in case you're just joining us and you didn't hear the numbers beforehand, Chuck Broyles' team has put up historic numbers. 823 points scored, including those 17 today. That's the most ever in college football history on any level.
Since 1886.
They beat a record set by the Harvard Crimson back in 1888. Fullback Joe Taylor, very simple play, gets in for the touchdown. That was too easy for the Pittsburg State Gorillas.
I'll tell you what, they've had a lot of success with Neil Philpott in the game, and they come in with Andy Majors. They don't miss a beat. Matter of fact, they step on the gas a little bit, and he comes in throwing the football, and you can see why the numbers are pretty much balanced. 368 yards per game, rushing 246 in the air. When they put Andy Majors in, it's more of an air attack that they go to. They're going to throw the football around a little bit.
Extra point could make it a 2-point game. Flag flies before this play gets underway.
number 77, the offense.
All right, so now a little bit more difficult on this extra point attempt, as Nathan Baker, the all-everything right tackle, moved a little bit too quickly on that line.
He was a state wrestling champion in high school. You mentioned the fact that he's one of 8 finalists for the Gene Upshaw Award. That's to be announced this January.
He's hoping the judges weren't watching on that play. Folks, we have had a wonderful ball game. No problem. Degree of difficulty ratcheted up, but the extra point is good, making it a 2-point game. Joe Taylor punches across the goal line for the Pittsburg State score. It's 26-24, Valdosta State. Valdosta State Blazers have a battle on their hands. They have just seen Andy Majors come off the bench cold and lead a splendid drive all the way down the field. 11 plays, 80 yards in 5 minutes and 16 seconds, capped off by a Joe Taylor 1-yard touchdown run. Andy Majors leading his team to within 2 points of Valdosta State. And folks, this is no ordinary football game. The Division II National Championship is on the line.
Yeah, Andy Majors, his strength is in his hair. You mentioned the fact he hadn't shaved since August. He hadn't had a haircut since August either.
Well, we had a chance to talk to Chuck Broyles about the beauty of his 2-quarterback system.
If we elect to just run the ball 8, 10, 12 times in a row, and we don't have to worry about him getting tired, if he gets dinged a little bit, Majors can come in. And if one of them doesn't have a hot hand throwing the football, then we can substitute. And we have done this not in a platoon system, but out of need sometimes. And both of them understand it, and both of them good friends, and both of them complement each other. So it's been a good situation for us.
Andre, I want you to first guess, not second guess. Will Neil Philpott be back under center next time Pittsburg State has the ball?
I don't know about next time, because Andy Majors right now has a hot hand. They're trying to get back in this football game.
Vincent Brown across the 40 to the 41-yard line, gain of 6 on first down. Let's take a look at those numbers for Majors and Philpott.
Yeah, Majors came in. I mean, 5 of 6, 68 yards. He doesn't have a touchdown pass, but he was every bit responsible for the touchdown run by Joe Taylor. And Philpott, I mean, he's had a decent game. Just when they needed to really get down the field and score quickly, they chose to go to Andy Majors, and he provided that spark.
Once again, adversity for Valdosta State. They were up by 9, thinking that maybe they could cruise for a little bit, but that lead has been trimmed down to a deuce. Walker, long pass, complete to Tyler Arndt, who gets first down yards. Well, later this evening, 1 man, 1 sport, 1 nation, 3. Starring Barry Pepper as Dale Earnhardt. 3, presented by Kay Jewelers, premieres tonight at 9 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN HD. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. The Dale Earnhardt story. The Intimidator from Kannapolis, North Carolina. First down and 10. Play clock down to 3. Walker right through the guts of the defense. Out to the 42-yard line into Pittsburg State territory.
And it looks like that's going to be another first down. I tell you what, they've done an excellent job in terms of play calling for Valdosta State. Mixing the run with the pass. You see the pass, the down before to pick up the first down. And then right there, they're going to run just a little quarterback draw, a little trap inside for the quarterback. And Fabian Walker follows in there, squirts out, and picks up another first down.
Chris Hatcher has had the luxury of working with some great quarterbacks during his short time as both an assistant coach and now a head coach. He coached at Central Florida, was the quarterback coach for Dante Culpepper. Coached at Kentucky, had Tim Couch there. And off Vincent Brown. And Vincent Brown, another big gain on first down, refusing to go down. He's pushed out inside the 20-yard line.
Well, they're trying to bring down Vincent Brown. They're trying to tackle him high. He's just bouncing off everybody. He's only 180 pounds, but strong junior college transfer from Tyler Junior College down in Texas. They talk to the coaches, he can really break one. Look at this agility right there, the feet. Bouncing in the hole and then showing you a little speed to go with it. You see big number 75, Richard Collier, pulling around, throwing a block. Number 3, Raymond Thomas as well. And boy, excellent job of picking up blocks by Vincent Brown.
So the Pittsburg State Gorillas once again on the defensive. The Blazers getting yards in big chunks. That time, Vincent Brown is brought down, led at about the line of scrimmage by Brent Watson.
Yeah, they try to go behind big Richard Collier. Just saw him a few minutes ago just pull around and throw a block there. Vincent Brown, a teammate from their teammates from Tyler Junior College. Yeah, all of a sudden, Pittsburg State, they've got the right defense called and shut things down.
Brent Watson getting the blow now on 2nd and 9. Once again, 4 receivers spread across the field for Walker. Wants to run it. Fabian Walker continues to earn high marks with both his arm and his legs. Gain of 11.
Well, they have got Pittsburg State all spread out. When you do that, you can run the draw, you can run the middle screen, you can run the screen to the outside receivers where he starts out and comes underneath, and it ends up way back over the middle portion of the field. And they're going to take this one down and run it down to the 4th quarter.
So the 3rd quarter ticks down. It's 26-24. Valdosta State on top. We've had a lot of offense, but folks, if you've watched the first 3 quarters, we've had a lot of big hits. Listen up.